Romaniuk and ask her. Dr. Victoria is a chair of IFAP Information Ethics Working Group and director of the Mihaila School of Journalism in Ukraine at the NAUKMA. And I'm asking Dr. Victoria in perhaps up to 5 minutes to provide us an introduction of the Information Ethics Working Group. Thank you very much, Dr. Victoria. Over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear partners and colleagues. First of all, I would like to warmly thank you, our wonderful partners, the MENA Observatory on Responsible AI, Access to Knowledge for Development Center and American University in Cairo. I hope that we can continue and strengthen our cooperation in future. And of course, the goal of our webinars is to discuss how different countries in the MENA region approach the ethical use of artificial intelligence. And today, we look at the both and opportunity and challenges AI bring to the many areas of our life by sharing experiences, best practices. We hope to find a way to make AI development more responsible, inclusive, and sustainable for everyone. And I'm also very happy to share a bit about the working group of the Information Ethics IFAP UNESCO. Our main mission is to promote the global dialogue on the ethical challenges of the digital age. And we do this by putting people at the center of everything we do. We believe that technology should serve humanity, not the other way around. And our team brings together 16 experts from different countries and professional background. And together we focus on 3 key areas: development, ethical policies, protecting digital rights, and promoting responsible innovation around the world. And over the past year, we've been involved in several important initiatives. We have organized workshops and webinars to explore how global ethic principles for AI can connect, for example, and ally with European legislation. And we also contributed to the IFAP Dynamic Coalition on measuring digital inclusion. And another important part of our work was collaborating with the IFAP working group on information accessibility, participating in major events like AI for AI, like AI conference and side session at the AI Action Summit in Paris. And we all know that we live in a world that is changing rapidly, and many of the challenges we face are similar no matter where we are. In my country, for example, in Ukraine, the Ministry of Digital Transformation is currently developing Ukrainian language AI model, and these initiatives will accelerate the integration of AI across government, business, and key areas of everyday life for Ukrainians. And I'm proud to have joined the ethical and legal working group as a part of this effort. That's why learning for each other is so important. By sharing knowledge and best practices, we can bring together ideas from different regions, from different countries, and create stronger, more effective way to approach AI ethics and governments around the world. And finally, I also want to give a warm thank you to IFAP Secretariat and Shin Hong. Thank you very much for your support and flexibility, for dedication makes work like our possible. And we truly appreciate everything you do to help us succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Victoria. And now I turn to Dr. Cheng Hong to tell us more about the Information for All program, IFAP at the UNESCO. Dr. Cheng Hong, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Riske, for giving the floor. Also, thank you, Dr. Romaniuk, for your kind words. Now I'm trying to share my screen. I think you can see it. So you can see my screen?
Yes, we
Hello?
can. Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Because now all I can see is my screen. And it's such a pleasure being here and also to see so many great colleagues, also ladies. And a very warm greetings from Paris. And also like to recognize my dear colleague, Mr. Mingguo Lin, who is based in the MENA region and attending our session. Also our long-term partner, Muhammad, Mr. Farad, and also a long-term partner with IFAP. So living in the wave of the fourth industrial revolution, we are witnessing huge technological advancement, not only internet, digital technology, but also AI, quantum, neuroscience, neurotechnologies, as we also tackled in a previous webinar of the information ethics webinar in July. They are developing so fast and profoundly impacting the concept and the entire approach of IFAP's approach to building knowledge societies, which really deserve our attention and foresight reflections. And the latest consensus reached tackling this technology is the Global Digital Compact, as you know, which was negotiated by all the UN member states in last fall in New York. Semantically, IFAP's 6 priorities perfectly align with those objectives of GDC, ranging from closing digital divide, expand inclusion, to data governance, to global AI governance, to advance the inclusive digital futures. That's why I would like to commend Dr. Risk and our partners, also the Madam Chair Romaniuk, for having consistently exploring this important subject of AI policy today with a strong focus in MENA region, which is so important. And in 2025, thanks to the support from all the working groups and the partners, IFAP has been able to elevate our entire profile and advocacy in addressing these issues. And in the 13th IFAP Council, we had member states to highlight the issue of AI entire throughout the session. Then we had managed to trigger policy discussion on the occasion of European dialogue on internet governance, contributing to the WISES plus 20 review process. We have been present at the IGF taking place in Norway this year. And recently, we contribute to the IDUAI Day celebration, International Day for Universal Access to Information. And now, in the following days, we are going to also contribute to the Global Media Information Literacy Week in Colombia. So also, not only our global advocacy, but our entire IFAP community is in action. I also like to recognize the wonderful and success from our working groups, not only information ethics, this one, also our working groups on the information for development, our working group on the information accessibility and information literacy. They have been very active in formulating all kinds of events and webinars. In addition to the, today is a living example. And also I like to highlight the success of the 6th AI for IA conference convened by a working group information accessibility led by Mr. Cordell Durin. This year, they managed to convene a global conference virtually, plus 8 satellite events across 5 continents. There are tremendous outcomes, which I can share in more in the chat. Then at HQ level, I'm IFAP Secretariat partnering with working groups and also partners to raise awareness and provide the member states with actionable recommendation on those emerging technologies and challenges. The first edition of the IFAP issue brief is on the quantum and how we shape the human rights centered global governance. And second edition is developed by our working group on information accessibility, which highlights 8 key principles in tackling the challenges illustrated by the good practices across 5 continents. Now we are finalizing the one with IFLA, our partner, to set up a policy roadmap for empowering libraries and library networks for building inclusive digital future. Explore 6 core policy areas with 2 case studies, one from South Africa, then one from Tunisia, also the MENA region. And you can just scan and read more. For near future, I warmly invite you to follow our UNESCO high-level roundtable convened on the occasion of ISCA 2025, taking place in Abuja, Nigeria, focused on the data governance and the digital inclusion in Africa. Again, I welcome you to join our dynamic coalition. As Dr. Romaniuk already mentioned, we will use this network to continue keep you engaged. Last but not least, UNESCO and Oxford recently launched a new MOOC online course on the AI and the digital transformation in government, aiming to building capacity for the policymakers and the civil servants in the government. There's a very well-made tape trailer video I like to show as an ending.
But we can hear it.
I think we cannot hear the audio, Dr. Changu.
You cannot?
No.
So we might that. So when we tried it, it can be, right? What if I just go to the YouTube to show?
No.
Can you hear it now?
No, unfortunately, I think it has to do with Zoom settings to share audio, I think.
No.
So
Maybe, yeah, we can get the link.
okay, advanced. Okay, so
One moment.
okay, so I will share the link so you can watch on your device. Sorry for this technical issue, or if anyone can quickly tell me how to, because it's so strange. Normally you should be able to, but otherwise, I mean, this video it's very quick access to how you can engage with on using this MOOC, which can be very useful and very. You are all welcome to share the link as well to go to our. Sorry. To go to our MOOC class. And okay, lastly, really thank you. 谢谢 merci beaucoup. And IFAP is having our 25th anniversary in 2026. I continue further engagement with all of you to make the program stronger and more impactful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chang Hong, and congratulations on the anniversary. Really very informative, very useful. Thank you so much. If I may, and thanks for sharing the link to the video. I'm sure everyone will really is keen on learning more through that video. So let me then, without further ado, turn to my collaborator and friend, Dr. Fatima Roumat, to start our rounds of presentations. We have a first round with our presenters. So Dr. Fatima is member of the IFAP Information Ethics Working Group, president of the International Institute for Scientific Research in Morocco, and our collaborator at the Observatory on a series of research on responsible data and AI in the health sector, which is, subject of another discussion. But I invite Dr. Fatima to lead her session. We have speakers, and I think speakers for up to 5 minutes. Over to you, Dr. Fatima. تفضلي.
Thank you, Dr. Nagla رزق. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. صباح أو مساء الخير للجميع, and welcome to our first panel. This session sets the tone for our discussions on how ethical and policy frameworks around AI are evolving worldwide and what lessons they hold for the MENA region. We'll explore how global principles, culture, values, and local realities will shape responsible AI governance. We are honored to have two distinguished speakers with us today. First, Noemi Bontrider, member of the IFAP Information Ethics Working Group and researcher at the University of Liège in Belgium. Next, Professor Mekyok Lim, advisor for communication and information at the UNESCO office in Rabat. Finally, Professor Siva Prasad, member of the IFAP Information Ethics Working Group from India. So let's start by welcoming our first speaker, Mrs. Noemi Bontrider. She will open the panel with the ethics of artificial intelligence, critical perspective. Mrs. Noemi, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Fatima, for this great introduction and for giving me the floor. And thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on the current state of AI ethics. I greatly appreciate this conference's focus on perspectives from the Middle East and North Africa, and I am honored to contribute to the discussion on the global context. As the title of my talk suggests, I will be offering some critical perspectives on the current state of the AI ethics landscape. As you know, documents addressing the ethics of AI are proliferating around the world. And much like in other areas of applied ethics, such as bioethics and medical ethics, these documents outline principles intended to guide what morally ought to be done, and they serve as a kind of checklist of responsibilities that must be met to ethically justify the developments, deployment, and use of AI systems. A number of ethical issues have been identified and established as core questions arising in the context of AI. And these include safety and security, where AI systems should be technically robust to prevent specific types of harm, such as those resulting from cyber attacks. Human agency and oversight are also key, meaning that AI should not undermine human autonomy, but instead support informed decision-making. Transparency and explainability are essential so that we can understand how the system works and why it produces specific outputs. Privacy and data protection are critical, especially given how easily personal data can be collected and analyzed in the digital landscape. Fairness and non-discrimination must be ensured so that AI systems do not reproduce or amplify existing biases.
After 5 days. So I'm taking 2 days.
And finally, accountability mechanisms must be in place to ensure that someone can be held responsible in the event of harm caused by an AI system. In the European Union, these principles are reflected in the legally binding AI Acts, and this regulation allows the placing on the market and use of AI systems that are deemed to pose high risks, so namely significant risk of harm to the health, safety, or fundamental rights of individuals, provided that a series of requirements are met. In doing so, AI systems are treated like products. But as Antoinette Rouvroy points out, they are not really products. They are very complex processes that interact most of the time within broader socio-technical contexts. And this complexity is one reason why defining AI is often a challenge. UNESCO chose to leave the definition open, acknowledging that such a definition would need to change over time in accordance with technological developments. In this context, Jean-Christophe Heilinger notes that one may even wonder about the need and benefits of identifying AI as a distinct ethical topic. He argues that the broader social context, including political, economic, and cultural dynamics at both domestic and global levels, must be recognized and critically examined in the environment in which pervasive AI systems exert their influence. Perhaps a more appropriate approach would be a sectoral one, taking into consideration the specificities of each discipline or professional practice. Rouvroy advocates for such a sectoral approach based on the high degree of contingency that results from the interaction of AI systems within broader socio-technical contexts, as I said earlier. Another aspect that can be criticized is the tendency to treat commonly identified ethical issues as problems that can be solved through computational means. For example, the production or reinforcement of discrimination through algorithmic decisions is often treated as an error. But this assumes a fixed idea of what is true, and instead we should recognize that statistical outputs are not meant to be true or false in a strict sense, but rather that they should be open to contestation. The AI Act also tends to overlook the material realities behind AI systems. Their development and use rely on concrete processes such as resource extraction, high energy consumption, waste generation, exploitative labor, and global power imbalances, with benefits often concentrated in the hands of a few persons or companies. And this makes it all the more important to include the voices of those affected at every stage: development, use, and disposal. UNESCO has started to address these concerns, and this broader perspective should be adopted more widely. These are just a few reflections that offer a critical take on the dominant approach to the ethics of AI, and I look forward to exploring them further with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bontrader, for this insightful and critical reflection on the ethical dimensions of AI. You have set the stage perfectly for our next intervention, which looks at how these principles are being started into policy and practice. It's now my pleasure to welcome Professor Min-Kyok Lim, Advisor for Communication and Information at UNESCO office in Rabat. He will share his perspective on implementing the UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of AI in the Maghreb, with examples drawn from journalism and judiciary. Professor Min-Kyok Lim, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor Fatma. It is my pleasure to participate in the discussion today. So let me start by giving a quick example. A while ago, there was a widely circulated quote that says, "I want AI to do my laundry and dishes so I can do art and writing, not for AI to do my art and writing so I can do laundry and dishes." It was said by a writer a while back. I think there's some valid argument to this sentiment, and therefore I think we should always start by asking two questions. First, what do we want AI to do for us? And the second is, what do we need AI to do for us? This line of questioning presupposes AI as a tool for the benefit of humanity, as Dr. Victoria has rightfully mentioned in the beginning. And as with all tools, we need to have proper guidance, rules, and skill sets on how to use them. For UNESCO in the MENA region, we are mainly focusing on providing guidance and skill sets for people on how to integrate AI into existing sectors and services while ensuring the protection of fundamental human rights. Ms. Noemi has wonderfully explained the various ethical dimensions of AI. So I will just follow up with some examples of what we are doing currently in this region with regards to implementing all these guidelines and protocols and recommendations on ethical AI. So I'm going to use two examples, one in the sector of journalism and the other one is with the judiciary. Let me start with the judiciary. So since 2013, UNESCO's Judges Initiative has trained more than 40,000 judicial actors. These include judges, prosecutors, lawyers, paralegals in over 160 countries. And more recently, since a couple of years ago, we started with AI and the rule of law within this initiative. And since then, we have trained more than 20,000 judges and legal professionals worldwide. And when we do this kind of training, what we do is that we transmit these ethical guidelines, these kind of consideration that Ms. Noemi has shared with us in great detail. And this is important. Why? Because in a global survey carried out by UNESCO in 2023, so the data needs to be updated a little bit, but I think it's still valid, where it says of 96 countries that we survey, 44% of the legal professional already use AI in their work. Yet 91% reported having no training and no official guidance on this technology. And we can only imagine that the figures have increased, but the training have not increased in comparison to the rise of the use of the technology. In several countries, courts are already using and experimenting with AI. In Brazil, for example, where famously 78 million cases are experiencing backlog. 78 million cases. That's a lot of cases to go through. Therefore, the court has started to use Victor, a program, an AI program to filter cases, to really streamline the cases in order to make it move faster through the backlog. In India, the Supreme Court has deployed Subhas, a program to translate documents into local languages. As we know, India is very rich in different languages. So this will really help different population that speaks different languages to be able to access justice. In Argentina, judges are already using AI to summarize their decision in plainer language for the common people to understand the implication of the rulings. So to support judicial actors, including judges, prosecutors, and lawyers on the ethical use of AI, UNESCO published this year the guidelines for the responsible use of AI in courts and tribunals. This is, of course, very much aligned with the UNESCO recommendation on ethics of AI that was published back in 2021. This year in Morocco, we are working with the Supreme Council of Judicial Power to adapt these guidelines into the Moroccan context. Because I think it's very important that we highlight this. We have guidelines. We have the UNESCO recommendation. We have the AI Act from EU. Africa is developing its own. But what happens is that we need to really bring it down to the country level and adapt it to the use based on the country context. So this will hopefully be a useful tool for judges who will inevitably come across users of AI, either by lawyers, by their own legal clerks, or even by the judges themselves. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but soon is when we project this to be happening. And I will also just make sure that for all of us, we know the issue, but for others, perhaps it needs to be highlighted. The guidelines that we produce are clear. AI must not replace judicial reasoning or endanger its independence. Judges must remain the final decision makers, and AI can only serve as a tool for support. So we must absolutely avoid the situation where someone received a judgment but felt it was not justified, or wishes for clarification, but only to be told that the decision was made by AI and we don't know why, and appeal is not possible. That is absolutely the situation which we must avoid. And as the UNESCO recommendation for ethics of AI has said, the human in the loop component or the human oversight must be a non-negotiable criteria in the deployment of AI anywhere in the world. Now, another facet of how we are trying to deploy AI ethics is with journalists and the media. So in Tunisia and Morocco, we have done several trainings for journalists using AI. And it's interesting because journalists play two roles here. They are using the AI themselves, but they are also promoting and advising and educating the general public on what is AI. So it's a double role, and we think it's very important for this particular sector to be trained in the use of AI as well. These trainings include how to write good prompts, how to improve accuracy of the results, how to do a quick summary and compare a vast amount of data to provide them with leads, and how to prepare the information a little bit better. But most importantly, though, we are training the journalists not to fall into the pitfall or the hype trap. Let's be clear, there are more promises of what AI can do than what they can actually do at the moment. Perhaps one day, but at the moment, there are limitations, and we need to be very conscious of that. And there are two problems, of course, but I don't think I have the time to go into there. I would just say that AI continues to have a problem with hallucination, generating information that are not real, that may, in fact, contribute to more disinformation and misinformation. Second is the problem of replicability, can reproduce the same results. LLM models such as ChatGPT, MNI, or Perplexity, all of them will produce different results, even if you type in the same questions, even within the same model. And if you use the same results, if you ask the same prompt, ask the same question, they give different results. So there's a problem with generating reliable information. So all of this is just to show that there are different ways where we can implement or present the guidelines on ethical
Professor
AI.
Lim, you have 30 seconds left.
Excellent, because I'm finishing. Thank you. And it is a challenge sometimes because how do we transform something that is very much of global guidelines into something that can be localized and used locally? It remains a challenge, but it's very fascinating. And it really does bring to light how we can really implement such ethical guidelines for the people who are actually using them on a day-to-day basis. So thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you, Professor Lim, for those rich insights into how ethical frameworks are taking shape on the ground, and for highlighting the importance of collaboration between policymakers, media, and justice systems. We'll now move to our final speaker, Professor Siva Prasad, member of the IFAP Information Ethics Working Group from India. Professor Prasad will explore how AI can be applied to indigenous knowledge system for sustainable development, offering a perspective that bridges technology, culture, and ethics. Professor Prasad, the floor is yours. Professor Prasad, can you hear us? Oh, maybe we should move to our next panel. Professor Prasad, are you with us? No, he can't hear us.
Thank you, Dr. Fatima. We can move on, and then we hope to hear from Dr. Prasad.
So.
Yeah.
So yes, this panel has underscored that the ethics of artificial intelligence cannot be separated from questions of human rights, inclusion, sustainable development, justice system, and it has also highlighted the importance of translating the global ethics principles into regional and national contexts that reflect local values and priorities. On behalf of the organizers, I extend our appreciation to Mrs. Naomi Bontrader and Professor Mekyo Klim, and their insights provide an excellent foundation for the discussion to follow in the next panel. And a special thanks to our audience for the truthful engagement. Now that we have set the global stage, it's time to bring the focus closer to home with insights from across the MENA region. And I'm delighted to pass the moderation to Dr. Nagla Rizk, who will lead our next panel on MENA perspective. So let's explore with her panel how the region is shaping its own vision for ethical and inclusive AI. Dr. Rizk, over to you.
Shukran, Dr. Fatima. I couldn't hope for a better introduction. Thank you so much for your kind introduction. And this is a great segue to our panel. And thanks again to Ms. Naomi and Dr. Lim. In our panel here, we're going to zoom in on our region with a wonderful group of our regional speakers. I have received a request from Dr. Hassan Al-Mulla, if that's okay with Dr. Farhat and the rest of our wonderful speakers, to go first because he might have an engagement at an official level. So what we need to do right now is to just zoom in on our region, look at our opportunities, challenges, lessons learned, and what we can do in our region, what has been taking place in this very important issue. So if I may ask our speakers in 5 minutes to present their views on the issue. So we will begin with Dr. Hassan Al-Mulla. I invite you to give your presentation and to share the title of your presentation and the content with our group here, with our audience and our participants. Thank you very much. Dr. Hassan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all, and thank you, Dr. Naja, for giving me the floor. It's a real pleasure to be a part of this rich discussion and to hear the insights of my colleagues. So just to respect the time frame, I will be going and answering your questions that you have just aboard. So firstly, when we speak about opportunity for advancing ethical AI in our region, there is much to be built on. Across the MENA region, we share many legal, institutional, and cultural foundations, which gives us a natural advantage for cooperation and alignment. This shared background allows us to exchange experiences, learn from one another, and develop ethical standards that are coherent yet respectful for our national specificities. We are also seeing stronger momentum from private sectors, especially in Gulf states, such as Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, and many others, implementing national AI strategies, empowering local talents, and attracting global expertise. This creates fertile ground for innovation and is both technologically advanced and ethically guided. At the same time, governments across the regions are showing strong commitment to responsible innovation. They are creating a balanced environment where technology can thrive within a framework of shared values and public trust. The governance culture, combined with open and dynamic markets, give us an excellent opportunities to integrate ethics into AI policies from the very start, while also positioning our region to contribute actively to global conversations on inclusive and ethical AI. These discussions have been within UN agencies and international policy dialogues within the MENA region where the MENA region is increasingly recognized as an engaged and constructive partner. Turning to the challenges, as I see them, areas where we can strengthen our collective capacity rather than obstacles. First, I need to mention ethical AI cannot evolve in isolation. That means a global framework developed through UN agencies and multilateral platforms inevitably influence national approaches. That should be viewed not as a limitation, but as an opportunity for alignment and mutual learning. Second, while AI technology are advancing at an extraordinary speed, our region has shown readiness and ambition. The key is to remain proactive, to engage at the earliest stage policies, designs, and not to wait until issues emerge. Anticipating risks and embedding ethics early will help ensure that our framework evolve in step with innovation. Another dimension is policy coordination. Policymakers, regulatory, and private sectors often move in a different paces, and not everyone reacts within the same speed. This is why we need to work hand in hand from the beginning, integrating ethical principles into AI system and AI systems at the design phase, not introducing them only after challenges or inquiries arises. Early collaboration prevents problems from they occur and build mutual respect. We also need to balance soft and binding regulations. Many countries, including Qatar, are finding a healthy mix by combining national data protection and AI governance laws with voluntary ethical frameworks on a broader scale. The multilateral system itself should continue to become more inclusive, ensuring that binding international frameworks on AI ethics reflects the perspective and experiences of all regions, including MENA. Such inclusiveness is vital for global standards and both fair and cultural grounded. And finally, there is the ongoing need for capacity building. Ethical AI depends not only on legislations but on people, on developing experts who can evaluate, audit, and implement ethical principles in practice. Investing in human capital will determine how effectively our region turns good intentions into real-world impact. To close on a positive note, I want to highlight two success stories that how global and national efforts complement each other. The first, on a multilateral level, the UNESCO's recommendation on ethics AI that has been adopted in the General Conference 2021 by all member states, 193 countries. It stands as a global normative framework on AI ethics. Qatar and several region countries actively took part in this process, showing how inclusiveness and dialogue across regions can shape a shared vision for human-centered and responsible AI. The second example is Qatar's own experience. In recent years, Qatar has made steady progress in embedding ethics in the heart of its AI development and governance. The National AI Strategy 2019 laid the foundation, emphasizing education, research, and ethics as key pillars. This way followed by the formation of the Artificial Intelligence Committee in 2021 under the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology to coordinate national efforts and ensure that ethical principles are integrated across all sectors in the country. The National Cybersecurity Agency guidelines in 2024 and the AI Principle Guidelines for Ethics Use in 2025 established clear standards on transparency, fairness, accountability, and human-centered governance. They ensure that AI system operates in a way that safeguards privacy, minimize bias, and align with Qatar's culture and moral values. At the same time, Qatar has reinforced data protection through a personal data privacy law and expanded ethical oversight mechanism in key sectors, from finance to education and healthcare, including the region's first AI research ethics certificate program at Hamad bin Khalifa's University. Together, these examples on international under the UNESCO and other UN agencies leadership and on national through Qatar's initiatives show that ethical AI is not abstract ambition, but a practical and achievable policy direction. They demonstrate how collaboration, consistency, and shared value can turn ethical principle into real governance framework that serves societies responsibly. I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan. Thank you for your concise, very quick and very informative coverage of the opportunities, the challenges, success stories. You've highlighted the private sector, the government, the legal and institutional frameworks, also alignment with the global frameworks, the readiness issue, which takes us to our next speaker. Policy coordination, balance of soft and bounding regulation, capacity building, two success stories from Qatar. So shukran jazilan. Thank you so much for your insights. And without further ado, I move on to our next speaker and thank the rest of our speakers for, the arrangement of the sequence of the presentations. Mr. Muhammad Farahat, a lawyer, legal consultant, and lead expert of Egypt's Readiness Assessment Methodology Report, member of UNESCO's AI Ethics Experts Without Borders Network. Says Muhammad, tfaddal, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. In 5 minutes, we look forward to hearing your insights. Tfaddal.
Thank you, Dr. Nagla, and thanks for our organizer to invite me for this very estimated and very important webinar. I think the ethics of using AI is very vital now, and all the countries, from my experience, especially in the region, in the MENA region, they have a very interest to develop guidelines and frameworks about how using AI in a ethical way. Let me I would like to highlight on 3 quick points about the development of ethics AI in Egypt and also in some countries in MENA region, and also I will be ended by to highlight on 2 milestone frameworks in MENA region or covered MENA region. The first for Egypt. Egypt in 2021 have developed and adopted the first national strategy on AI. And in 2023, Egypt also adopted the Egypt Charter on Responsible AI. It was it was milestone moment to have this. What happened also in 2025, Egypt adopted the second edition of AI strategy, national strategy on AI. And within the new strategy or the second edition of the strategy, Egypt expanded the scheme of how to using AI in ethical way. In this first time, in the second edition, Egypt used the AI ethics system. So the Egypt government now dealing with the ethics of as a system, not as a tool, not as a guideline, not have one guidelines, but as a system, which includes AI legislation, and also also that we have a charter, the Egypt Charter on AI, but the second edition of strategy mentions that there is a need to put more details about the charter. So Egypt in coming years or coming months or coming times, they will also working to develop or to make the AI ethics charter more detailed. And also, according to the second edition of the national strategy, Egypt also going to establish the Center of Ethics, responsible AI. This the development in Egypt, of course, in the level of legislation and legal aspects. Egypt had adopted a lot of laws, not AI law legislation, but as a legal person, I think this is one of the framework, because AI is not one law, but it's a framework. AI legislation, specific AI legislation, may be one of them, because we cannot, as a legal person or legislator, to have one law cover all issue aspects related to AI. So we have data protection law, we have intellectual property law, and we have cybersecurity. All of this is a framework, because AI should be built on the data protection and cybersecurity first before we go to have some specific legislation to cover AI. Also, in Egypt is one of the countries in the MENA region has subjected to readiness assessment methodology, RAM assessment, which is developed by UNESCO. And we finalized our RAM process, and the final report is available now on the UNESCO website. And also in the region, only Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Morocco who undergo this readiness assessment methodology project, and they finalize all the RAM assessment. And as far as I know, also Tunisia now started to do the same, and other countries in the region. So I think in the regional level, the most of countries in the region, they start to develop their own framework. It's very, very important. As a legal person, it's not enough to have the legal the guidelines, because it's like it's soft law, not hard law, not there is no any obligation. But I think this is a very good start for MENA region. In 2025, we have two milestone frameworks that cover MENA region. The first one, it's about the charter or UNESCO Charter on Artificial Intelligence. It's developed by the Arab Education and Cultural Science Organization. And this in 2025. In this charter also, as to be honest, it's not different from other charters in other region, or because all of them deriving from the UNESCO framework, ESCAL framework. So this charter is covered some of principles, or including some a lot of principles that been mentioned by our speakers, like human rights and human rights and human rights, justice and non-discrimination. I just don't want to repeat what my colleague mentioned, and other principles about security, data protection, privacy, transparency, explainability, responsibility, and accountability. All of these principles included in the UNESCO Charter. And also one of the principles, it's important in this charter, with they put it in the charter, is to respect the inherited Arab beliefs and Islamic value. I think it's one of the good points that this charter strengthened or affirmed that the using AI have to respect our Islamic and Arab value. The second framework, and I will not go into this about this framework, because I think my colleague I'm from Morocco will be covered in details. It's Riyadh Charter on Artificial Intelligence, and this charter is developed for as a voice of the Islamic countries. This framework or this charter have three groups of principles, and I think it's one of the strengths in this charter to divide the principle in three groups. The first group have a set of principles about the ethical conduct, and the second, the principle of ethical design and the ethical governance. So it's divided the principle into three groups about design and conduct and governance. As the last thing about is very important in this charter, it's use the term, this new term for me, it's personal sovereignty. I think the personal sovereignty is very, very important. The last thing I will just 1 minute, just to make sure that and to affirm that the regulating AI or developing the ethics guidelines for AI should be based on sectors, not at all. As our colleague Mr. Lee mentioned, that one of the sectors is justice, and also like in quickly, like Egypt, no, in MENA region, we in cooperation with UNESCO, we delivered one of the training for judges in the MENA region. It was in Doha last year, and also as I know, Egypt also will start to do that for the Egyptian judges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Farahat. I have things to also add, but I'll wait until the discussion later on. As moderator, I'm delighted. Thank you, Mr. Mohammed, and I'm delighted to open the floor to pass the word to Mr. Mohsen Rifai, Legal Advisor to Public Administrations at the General Secretariat of the Government. And I also ask you to kindly, within 5 minutes, provide us with your insights. Mr. Rifai, تفضل. Mr. Mohsen, are you there? I have a feeling we have lost Mr. Mohsen Rifai. I ask again, Mr. Rifai.
Maybe we should move to Professor Siva Prasad. He joined us.
Yes, I can see Professor Siva. Thank you so much. I was thinking maybe you have the regional, maybe Professor Siva. Okay, we can divert a little bit from the regional. Let's keep the regional, with us, and just take a side step to listen to the wonderful thoughts of Professor Siva to complete our general, our global conversation about this. So, Professor Siva, in 5 minutes, would you kindly give us your insights? Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, there was a mix-up. I hope you are able to listen to me now. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. You see, I wanted to look at how AI can be applied to indigenous knowledge systems and how it can be helpful in sustainable development aspects. When I talk about AI, the indigenous knowledge, it's actually a body of knowledge which is acquired by local people through accumulation of experiences, informal experiments, and an intimate understanding of the environment in a given culture. It's actually, I call it as a kind of people's science, and they have evolved it for a harmonious living with the nature, and that means that they always look at, because their entire livelihood, language, culture, or art, everything is linked to the nature. And that is where we find these communities basically use that knowledge in order to eke out a living, but they don't overuse the nature. Or in other words, they respect the nature, and that is where their knowledge, the basically is important for very sustainable living, because that is linked to their practices, their beliefs, and part of the social and cultural system. So the taboos and beliefs are basically there to protect the knowledge from being misused by anybody else for any pecuniary or other kinds of gain, because they don't use it for any monetary or other kinds of gains. So that's where, if such kind of a knowledge, we might consider the taboos or beliefs as superstitious, but actually there is a kind of basis lying in that, is to prevent others from misusing it. So if we dismantle such kind of a knowledge, it has a not only bearing on the communities, but also on the wider environment. And in fact, this is where, if we look at the way in which the people use the knowledge in order to protect the nature, and also for them, nature is not just human beings alone. Nature means all other beings, and that is where they look at this as a kind of part of a natural cycle, and the changes in the pattern always upset them. That is where we find that whenever there is any kind of upset in the natural cycles, they don't blame the nature, but they blame themselves. They think that it is because of their mistakes this might have happened. This is contrary to our kind of a thinking. Now, if I look at the way sustainable development is used, there are a couple of contradictions in sustainable development. That is, we use the resources for economic growth, and sustainable use of the environment are contradictory, because a larger share of destroying the environment basically comes from the expanding capital and technology. So the policies and legal frameworks of the governments also go against many a time into this. So since sustainable development continues to follow the same economic logic of development, the challenge is how to break that. And that is where I feel that AI can be used, because AI basically is important, because we need to look at the way in which existing knowledge systems can be utilized in order to safeguard the communities, indigenous communities, the knowledge systems, as well as because they are linked to the nature, livelihoods, economies, language, etc. And this is important for building sustainable societies. So AI and digital technology industries will only show interest when they feel that it is basically generating them economic interest. But then, if we can allow these communities to develop along with the digital technology companies, that can be very important for the larger benefit of the humanity. In fact, it is essential to engage in order to do this indigenous communities in building sustainable societies, because we need to work with them to build a database, and that database can be used, because what is important for us is AI need to be developed with the local epistemologies to prevent or to provide very effective local solutions. So the notion of inclusivity has a different meaning if you look at the traditional communities, because for them, it not only includes just human beings, but all the living and non-living beings in the nature. So this is where AI, if it is to embed into local cultures by becoming part of the local value systems, and that is what is very important. In fact, one of the Indigenous Protocol Artificial Intelligence Working Group basically tried to talk about the Western rationalist epistemologies from which AI is being developed are too limited in their range of imagination. Therefore, frameworks and effectively engage alone with the new ontologies created by future generations of computer systems is important. In other words, what is important for us is AI subsets created based on local epistemologies and local language models for their generation will be more effective and usable for their application. So we need to create indigenous AI to protect the identities and cultural ethos of marginalized communities in practice, which means that indigenous peoples need to be the decision makers on how data about them are used, including within the social program algorithms. So it will enable the maintenance of proper protocols in terms of initiating, maintaining, and evolving relationships with humans as well as non-humans. So indigenous epistemologies are comprehensive and inclusive. So solutions that are intrinsically proposed in local epistemologies with localized technologies contribute to the sustainability of both environment and societies. In the same way, localized AI can help build better sustainable and inclusive societies. This will contribute to a real linguistic, cultural, and biodiverse universe. Lastly, actually, what is that we are going to gain? This helps us to find solutions to the problems that have a greater bearing on the local natural resources and environment. And it provides us with the understanding of the organic linkages and their immense value in restoring the proper management of resources and their vibrance. This can help in countering climate change impacts. Thus, retrieval of this knowledge using AI is in the interest of humanity for more sustainable livelihoods, environment, and their management. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Siva. Your presentation just shows us there's no better example than what you just said about localizing the technology and using local data sets, local experiences to solve local problems. And so this is really very interesting, and thank you again very much for your intervention. So we will go back to our regional perspective, and after listening to Dr. Hassan and his excellent portrayal, presentation of what's happening in Egypt. So I'm calling again for Mr. Mohsen Rifai. Do we have Mr. Mohsen Rifai with us? Has he been able to join?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry for being late. It was just a problem with the internet. So
no problem. Thank you, Mr. Mohsen. Yes, thank you so much for joining. May I ask you? Yes, we're looking forward to your intervention. If I may ask you within 5 minutes,
sure,
please.
Sure.
Thank you,
okay,
sir.
I will do for my best. Okay, so the intervention is about how can the General Secretariat of Government contribute to the implementation of UNESCO
Mr. Mohsen, we are losing you.
Recommendations on ethics of artificial intelligence. So this presentation is going reflection on with the internet. I don't know if you are hearing me good now.
Yeah, but
can you hear me?
Yeah, but we can.
We can hear
can you hear me?
Now. We can hear you now. Please keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this presentation aims to contribute to the ongoing reflection on the normative roles that the General Secretaries of Governments may assume in the implementation of UNESCO's recommendation on the ethic of artificial intelligence. So in this light, in light of responsibilities entrusted to this ministerial department. So to this end, we are going first to begin by identifying the main legal reforms referenced in UNESCO's recommendation. Then we are going to examine the powers of general secretaries of government in order to approach the way it could contribute to the implementation efforts. And finally, we'll review the main current legal framework related to artificial intelligence ethics in Morocco. So first, I will try to be very brief concerning the recommendations. The domains that requires legal regulation by states include, in particular, to develop, review, and adapt as appropriate regulatory frameworks to achieve accountability and responsibility for the content and outcome of artificial intelligence systems. The ultimate responsibility and accountability must always lie with the natural or legal persons, and that artificial intelligence systems should not be given legal personality. To put in place appropriate safeguards to protect the rights to privacy, to ensure that individuals retain rights over their personal data, to ensure that artificial intelligence actors respect and promote freedom of expression as well as access to information with regard to automated content generation, moderation, and curation, to ensure that the potential for digital technologies and artificial intelligence to contribute to achievement or to achieving gender equality is fully maximized, to encourage female entrepreneurship, participation, and engagement in all stages of artificial intelligence systems. So now, concerning the role that the General Secretariat of Government can play, I need first to note that the outset from a technical point of view, it's very important to note this at first. The legislative and regulatory initiative concerning text within the legal domains referenced by the UNESCO's recommendations fall under the authority of ministerial departments, other than the General Secretariat of Government. However, in analysis of the mandates assigned to the General Secretariat of Government as defined in its decree of mandates, reveals two missions related to the normative content of draft laws and regulations submitted to it, namely, first one is to review draft legislative and regulatory text with a view to verify their compliance with constitutional provisions and their consistency with applicable laws and regulation, as well as with the fundamental principles underpinning the national legal system. This responsibility empowers the General Secretariat of Government to draw the attention of the initiating department to the obligation of ensuring coherence and conformity with the country's international and domestic commitments. Second one is to prepare legal consultations for government, public institutions, and or any other legal entity governed by public law. In this regard, the General Secretariat of Government may be consulted on legal issues arising from implementation of UNESCO's recommendations. First one is the establishment of an internal commission mandated to monitor and analyze developments of legislative and regulatory instruments related to digital technologies and artificial intelligence. Finally, I need just to talk about a legal framework currently enforced concerning artificial intelligence in Morocco. We are not starting from ground zero. So I give you here a non-exhaustive list of key legislative instruments related to artificial intelligence applicable in Morocco. First one is the law about amending the penal code regarding offense relating to automated data processing system, law on protection of natural person with regard to the processing of personal data, law establishing the Digital Development Agency, law on cybersecurity, and finally, law on trust services for electronic transactions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohsen. Really appreciate this overview of the
you.
framework in Morocco. I move on then to Dr. Asma El-Hannani, who also I asked to present us her insights in 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. So good morning or good afternoon, everyone. So I'm really delighted to be here today to discuss a topic of a paramount importance for Morocco's digital future, which is its roadmap to responsible artificial intelligence. So my presentation today will be drawn extensively from the recent UNESCO report on AI readiness levels in Morocco, which is a diagnostic that highlights Morocco's progress, strengths, and also area for strategic development in responsible AI. So we will begin by looking at how this commitment to ethical AI has been formalized. Indeed, Morocco has made a strong commitment to ethical AI at the highest level. As said before, in November 2021, when 193 UNESCO member states adopted the recommendation on the ethic of AI, Morocco was among the first to officially declare its implementation in March 2022. So this commitment was followed by the establishment of a national steering committee, which has its first meeting in November the same year. Then in April 2023, a dedicated UNESCO project has been launched to support the recommendation execution within the country. So this proactive approach underscores Morocco's understanding that AI development must be guided by a strong ethical foundation. So these foundational steps have been later instrumental in preparing Morocco. And as we will see in the next slide, the UNESCO Readiness Assessment Methodology, or what we call also RAM, has evaluated Morocco's current landscape. So the UNESCO RAM assessment indeed reveals that several key strengths that position Morocco favorably for responsible AI development. First, our best digital infrastructure is boosted, with significant internet penetration being observed. The commitment also to cybersecurity is evident in Morocco's global ranking, and also the efforts in open data initiatives are highly commended, which demonstrates Morocco's commitment to transparency and access to information. Furthermore, we can see also a notable increase in AI-related research works and projects, and also the establishment of specialized institutions dedicated to IT in general and AI specifically, which are actively working to enhance digital literacy and programming skills across various segments of society, reducing then the digital divide. However, while these strengths are considerable, the legal landscape also requires attention. As stated before by Mr. Rifai, Morocco has a wide range of laws, but they are not really specific to AI regulation, like, for example, the European AI Act. We have still a robust framework of general cyber law, like covering electronic transaction, cybercrime, data protection, consumer protection. Also, Morocco adherence to international convention like Convention 108 for automated processing of personal data is really solidified. However, there is a real need for dedicated AI-specific legislation, as I said before. The rapid evolution of AI requires really agile regulatory frameworks which need to address unique ethical challenges, from potential discrimination, privacy breaches, to the impacts on the labor market, and also to cultural heritage. Thus, proactive measures are really considered essential to ensure that AI development is aligned with our societal values and international best practices. So this legal evolution is really part of a broad phased strategy. Morocco journey toward responsible AI is therefore being approached with a clear and phased roadmap, ensuring synthetic or systematic progress and adaptability. As you can see, in short term, there are immediate actions that are being undertaken, which include a planned launch of a national AI roadmap, the establishment of a dedicated national ethics committee for AI, and the initiation of legal reforms which are necessary to address emerging AI-specific challenges. In the medium term, there are efforts which are being focused on foundational developments. National AI platforms are being built to foster innovation, and robust research and development activities are being promoted. Furthermore, a continuous process for the evaluation of AI ethics across various sectors is being implemented. Looking now at the long term, the strategy emphasizes refinement and widespread adoption. Regulations are being continually refined to keep pace with technological advancements, and inclusive AI ecosystem are being fostered, ensuring that the benefits of AI are widely shared and accessible. So in conclusion, Morocco is demonstrating a clear and proactive commitment to building a responsible AI ecosystem. It has a solid digital foundation, as we have seen, a strong will to implement ethical guidelines, and active initiative for digital empowerment and policy developments. But the journey involves continuously refining the regulatory frameworks, investing in human capital, and fostering a multi-stakeholder approach to ensure AI serves the need of our society ethically and inclusively. So the insights and lessons learned from Morocco's experience can also contribute to the broader conversation on AI ethics and policy within the MENA region, fostering international cooperation for a shared and responsible digital future. So I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to your question and to the discussion that will follow, inshallah.
شكرا دكتور أسماء الحناني. University شعيب الدقالي الجديدة موروكو. Lab of Information Technologies National School of Applied Sciences شعيب دقالي University الجديدة. I'm sorry, my internet cut and brought me back, but I mean, thank you very much for sharing your insights on Morocco. And we'll come back with questions later on in the session. I have on my list Dr. Wiam Shafiq. I am not sure I see Dr. Shafiq on the list of participants. Am I, Dr. Wiam, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Apologies, I'm sorry, you probably lost you and you came back. There was something wrong with my system. Dr. Wiam.
No worries at all.
Foresight and AI Governance Official, the Center of Foresight and AI of ICESCO. Your insights in 5 minutes, please. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And it is an honor to be with you at this gathering on AI ethics for policy, and my sincere appreciation to the organizers. And as most of us said, we are indeed in the heart of the age of rapid innovation, where the artificial intelligence now acting as the primary driver for global progress. AI, as you may know, and all of you know today, technologies permeate industries, reshape societies, influence how governments and institutions make decisions, how, for example, students learn, and how even we envision our futures. And across the globe, and notably within our region, AI has firmly embedded itself through machine learning, robotics, big data analytics, and even generative tools that are taking the lead today. And this shift is powered by the accelerating growth of global AI markets globally, and which is also projected to expand roughly around 20 to 30% annually. And through this, through the end of this decade. And in parallel, many countries in our region, as previously mentioned by our colleagues, have launched ambitious, if not very promising, national AI strategies. And they are determined to not only adopt AI, but to lead in its development internationally. For example, we have roadmaps such as the Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, UAE's National AI Strategy, Qatar's as well, similar frameworks in Oman, Jordan, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and so on and so forth. And this all exemplify this commitment, and these strategies are also backed with multi-billion-dollar investments. And at the same time, the digital transformation of governance in our region has made remarkable strides, and several MENA governments now rank among top nations worldwide in e-government development. For example, we have Saudi Arabia, which recently rose to the 6th place in the 24 UN e-government survey. And really, at the heart of this technological revolution lies the human element, because we cannot talk about this without having a human-centered AI. And our region's workforce and talent are rapidly adapting to meet AI's promise. And for example, we did a little bit of an analysis, and the job posting required AI skills in our region really surged in the last couple of years. And looking at the future, it is clear that AI will profoundly transform the landscape of work. We've seen the World Economic Forum's recent report that suggests that by 2030, automation and AI could displace around 92 million jobs worldwide. Yet at the same time, 117 million new jobs that we cannot know today are expected to be created. And as we collectively rush towards an AI-driven future, we must pause to ask fundamental questions. What is the purpose of this progress, and under which guidance should it be unfolded? And in the pursuit of this technological advancement, we cannot afford to lose sight of our values and our principles as a region. So these urgent and complex questions have been at the heart of the Islamic World Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, ISISCO, in which I have the honor to be working at. And our efforts in the recent years is to secure, or to look how to secure the benefits of AI while safeguarding our ethical foundations and values. And this is what prompted us to mobilize our institutional capabilities to envision a framework for responsible, value-driven AI. And this vision took its highest form of expression in the form of the Riyadh Charter on Artificial Intelligence for the Islamic World, ISISCO. And it is a reference framework that represents our shared ambition to move from principles to policy. And it embodies our collective resolve to steer AI's development with wisdom, dignity, justice, and foremost, solidarity. And the story of AI, of course, as you all may know, did not begin in Silicon Valley or the 21st century labs. It began a long time ago with scholars of the Islamic Golden Age. We have, like, the very term algorithm is taken from the name of a scholar, Al-Khawarizmi. So it is derived from his name. So our values and how we are indeed, they're taking place in AIs today. And this deep understanding is what made ISISCO think to channel this development through a charter that honors our values and contributes positively to the broader humanity. And let me turn back to the Riyadh Charter itself and the process through which it was crafted, because it took us a little bit over 2 years to draft. And it was not drafted in isolation or behind closed doors, but it was a product of a consultative journey, and in which we had the principles of participation, foresight, and inclusion, in which all of our member states were taking part of this, doing this charter. So in 1 minute, as I see in the chat, we have done the charter through 2 main phases, which is the normative phase, in which we took informations from global global ethical frameworks such as the UNESCO ones, and also exploratory consultation phases that took place with all of our member states. And just to briefly mention what's going on within the Charter itself, we have three main components, which are the ethical principles framework with 16 guiding ethical principles based on basic requirements, ethical design principles such as inclusive, human-centric, sensitive, and of course, ethical conduct principles from AI developers and engineers and other organizations deploying AI. And also we have ethical governance principles that takes accountability and oversight at all levels, including governmental, institutional, and social. And the other component and main component of the Charter, if we may say so, is the recommendation across sectors. And we took into consideration the organization's fields of expertise, which are education, sciences and technology, humanities and social sciences, culture, and communication. I don't have the time to explain all of the recommendations in all sectors, but what we try to do is to come up with a strategic roadmap for implementation. One of the main roadmap components are the capacity building, institutional readiness to accompany our member states, international cooperation as it is quite an important part of the Charter, and of course, to help our member states with their national strategies and foresight. And of course, in closing, thank you so much. And as we convene today to deliberate on the governance of ethics and AI, let us remember that our shared responsibility is equal of magnitude as the technologies promised. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wahab. And sorry we had to, given the time, but really very interesting. And if you can also post, useful links on the chat. Last but not least, we have Dr. Lina Awaidat, ICT Cybersecurity and AI Advisor, Cybersecurity Coordinator, Presidency of the Council of Ministers of Lebanon, and Managing Partner of ECS consultant firm, professor at the Lebanese University. Now, in collaboration with the Jesuit School. Dr. Lina, 5 minutes, and then we're going to move on to a discussion with everyone. Dr. Lina, تفضلي.
Okay, good morning. Very honored really to be part of this discussion. I'm going to go quickly just to say about why we started in Lebanon to make AI governance and ethics together guidelines in some joint title. It was born from the tension that occurred in Lebanon and how to move from principle to practice. So we faced dual challenges for sure, international norms and the problems of infrastructure, the fragmented governance that we have, and many other things in the situation that everybody knows about Lebanon. So I hope that today to share some reflections about rationale behind this approach. And what about ethics? So I would like to share quickly. 5 minutes is too short, but we have to try to go fast. So first of all, I would like to say that can you see my screen?
We can see you.
You don't see my screen yet. I'm trying to share it. Is it okay?
Yes. Now, yes.
Okay. So first of all, I'm going to talk about we worked on let's say basically it was an academic. I'm very happy to be part of discussion launched by AUC. Really, it's very important because having academy, it's very important in university if you have multiple backgrounds. I mean, multiple faculties on board, engineering, political science, everything, and legal mainly. So, and then we started on, we have as background, grounded on national cybersecurity policy, strategy, national digital transformation, and Lebanese University with Jesuit School strategic plan. And for sure, all international. I have been part of UNESCO International Trust, Internet of Trust, big event in Paris about the trust and moderation in the artificial intelligence. To make the story short, so I wanted to say that Lebanon embracing AI guidelines offer a structured approach to govern AI developed by the Lebanese University for the reason I talked about. The purpose was, first of all, establish a national framework, because after we have seen everywhere, everybody is pretending expertise. It was very dangerous. It was very important to go back to ethics and governance and to talk about responsibility, promote trust, transparency, and accountability, align with international standards. So the problem was here is governance. Why governance is urgent? It was between opportunities and risk. It was very important to push people to think about this balance, because we are starting to have imbalance between these two things, the opportunity and the risk. We jump for the opportunity, and many times we are forgetting the risk, or we are taken by quantum computing and something, forgetting AI and so on. And this is, believe me, happening all the time. So the principal guidance was legal and ethical. This as a technology maturity, neutrality, because it is very important, and the life cycle oversight and the practical implementation. Okay, sustainability is something very important. Sorry, I'm going to go fast to respect my 5 minutes. And then after, these are the principal guidelines. The moral compass on AI in Lebanon: privacy protection, digital security, we are suffering from that, responsibility of and accountability, transparency, explainability, fairness and non-discrimination, inclusive growth, and I would like in the future to be more accurate about inclusive. Inclusive is a very wide definition. It is not understood in this part. All type, I'm talking about background and expertise. Also, inclusiveness should follow and cover this. So if I want to make a managing AI from design to deployment, don't forget that we are not designing from scratch. Maybe in Lebanon in some activities, but we are sometimes have some infrastructure with which are available. So we cannot AI ethical by design. It might be by default also. So planning and design, monitoring and evaluation, model building and processing and deployment. And turning principle into practice, that's where the objective was. Ethics by design, I told you, there should be a template, how to teach people or to help new, let's say, procurement responsible about how to make it on starting from risk impact on framework, compliance checklist. We should have, but it is by sector also. It is not something common. Training programs, capacity building, everybody talking, public awareness, and Lebanon toolkits. We have to, according to our capacities, our toolkits. So another type, to summarize, so we have project scoping and ethical assessment, goal alignment, data and bias, and risk and security. And the second part is the second cycle: data processing, model building, the testing, the deployment, and monitoring. And this is applicable by sector. I just want to mention something that in Lebanon, we identified as critical infrastructure 13 sectors with 165 critical infrastructure. And there's fundamentals which are common, but for each sector, as you know, has its particularity. Lebanon in the international AI landscape, we have been really following what UNESCO have, OECD and EU and all others, and you know how many we have. And then on the other hand, responsible AI in public administration, in adaptive administration, in digital skills, everything. So it is really wide. And if we have to think, I wanted to highlight because everybody and we are talking about laws and regulation. I would like to highlight things after training of judges and law enforcement agencies. We will have problem of lawful evidence. Imagine that we have laws and the judges are not sure of the evidence because of AI or sometimes with the help of AI. So these are also other complication. Implementation, centralized body for AI. But I want to tell you something that after from the experience, AI is no more alone. It cannot be dissociated in governance from other ICT, from the infrastructure, and from digital transformation. So licensing and compliance monitoring, public consultation and engagement, AI governance authority, because the governance is important because it will draw the responsibility model, promotion of responsible innovation, not jumping to innovation, enforcement of ethical standard. So these are media literacy, because it is very dangerous. They need like judges also to be to learn how to talk about it in here. Transparent communication, feedback and mechanism, and civil society. And please, 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 specialize civil society, because we have, let's say, blossoming of, this is, let's say, a dream of planning, ethical principle tracker, global alignment radar, we have to check, and risk and impact matrix, it should be done, and sustainable engagement index, we have to talk about that, high empowerment, engagement, and strategy implementation map. We have to study where to start and how to start. I'm giving, but there's no time. Let's say this is a planning of ethical AI in healthcare. So these are the steps. I'm sorry, but I have to go fast. And continue stakeholder collaboration, invest in education and capacity building, regulatory update of tools and framework, maintain ethics and the core of digital transformation. Don't separate ethics and governance, they are one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lina. And I'm so sorry to pressure you on time, but these are such great reasons. Please share your, presentation. Please make sure we have access to this wonderful material. And everyone, I encourage every speaker to share their presentations, please, if they may. So thank you very much, and thanks to all the speakers. And because we are a bit pressed on time, I wanted to sort of go in one round of discussion with everyone. You've all raised fantastic ideas, so I sort of caught a couple of threads, and I would love to, I'm going to pose a set of questions, and I will go in order by our presenters to tell us just an answer to one question. So initially, we've had in looking for the way forward. From all we've heard, what is one lesson learned that you can give as advice for, AI ethics in policymaking in the MENA region? That could be one question. But also, I'll just pose a couple of thoughts, and you're free to pick up whichever you like. So there's also the question of sectoral versus an overarching approach in the regulation, because this has come up here in the presentations, but also it has come up with our own work and our own multi-stakeholder meetings. And the third point, so first one is really a lesson learned for way forward in MENA. The second general question is sectoral versus an overarching approach. And the third point is really, how do you place AI, ethics in AI in the nexus between innovation and regulation? It's often said that regulation hinders innovation and that innovation wants minimal regulation. So where does ethical AI fall? I know these are general questions, but if our speakers could speak to one of any of these points, and I hope like in a couple of minutes, and I hope we'll have time because I see a couple of questions from the audience. One relates to collaboration and one between MENA, and I'll ask maybe Dr. Victoria to read them. So let's just stick to the discussion. One lesson learned as we move forward, AI ethics in MENA, sectoral versus overarching regulation, and the nexus between regulation and innovation, and where do ethics fall? Just pick one of these themes, and in a couple of minutes, just give us your insights. I know it's like a lightning response, so maybe I'll start maybe in reverse order. So Dr. Lina, in a couple of minutes, if you were to just speak to any one of those points, what would be your thoughts?
Again, I have to say ethics and governance model of responsibility. And there's a very important word, pay attention that human trust might become a vulnerability.
Very good.
Yes.
So just great. So, ethics and governance, just straight piece of advice. Excellent. Then we have Dr. Wiem Shafiq. What would be your, take on any of the issues that I have asked about?
Thank you so much. Thank you. And maybe for the sectoral versus overarching principle. In our charter and within ISESCA, we see that principles and AI, ethical AI should be dealt with on a sectorial level.
Okay.
Because as we were doing the participatory part of the charter, we knew that each country or each sector is specific and has specific needs. So first of all, we know that one best way does not exist anymore, and to do so, each principle should be applied on an ethical basis, and should AI be included in an ethical way. Thank you.
Amazing, Sector. Thank you so much. I understand. Then Dr. Asma Al-Hannani, over to you. Dr. Asma, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I will continue on what Mrs. Wiem said on global versus sectorial regulation. I think that we need a global or what we call also horizontal regulation, because this will ensure coherence and a baseline level of ethical conduct, and building upon existing frameworks, for example, such as general data protection. But in the same time, we need sectorial regulation in order to tailor our decision to unique risks of industry and specific rules of different sectors. At the same time, I think a careful balance needs to be ensured, and the flexibility and adaptability need to be also guaranteed. So both for me, global then sectorial regulations.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I understand Dr. Hassan and Mr. Mohsen are not with us now, so I will move on to Mr. Mohammed Farhat. Your thoughts, please.
Okay, thank you. The first thing for this lesson, I think in MENA region, the most problem we face in MENA region is the implementation of these policies. So my advice is implementation. Otherwise, it will be just very beautiful words in the documents. Just it. This first. Second, because I have this long debate with official in Egypt and other person worldwide about the regulation. It's possible, if it's possible or important to regulate AI. I think yes. I'm not supporter for the statement of regulation kill or hinder innovation. I think the regulation could support innovation, and I think we need to do that. And what's the place, the position of the ethics? It's here. We have to come with some binding texts, focus on ethics, how to use and to ensure the accountability and responsibility. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I will turn now to our global speakers, Professor Siva Prasad. I hope we still have you. If you'd like to speak to any of the issues that we just raised.
Yeah, I think, thank you very much. You see, one thing what is important is most of the technologies, digital technologies or AI and others, affect the marginal communities all over the globe, and they are largely affected because the resources are used by the dominant groups, including the tech companies and even the governments. And that's where we are into big trouble, because problems in the world, whether you call it environmental problems or anything, they are not caused by the communities. They are caused by the greed of the others. So that is where I think what is needed is that we need to take these communities along and find solutions, because that is what is very important. We talk about indigenous cultures, indigenous languages and all that, but their knowledge systems are very important for protecting the global environment. And in fact, most of the problems are local, not global. You can't have global solutions. They are only local solutions. These local solutions come from these knowledge systems. And that is where I think everyone has to take note of these communities' knowledges and use that as a kind of whether you write it into algorithms using the data, and then using their epistemologies, we can really help the systems to survive, and future lies in that. Whether sustainable development is happening or not, it can happen only when you take these knowledge systems. And that is where I think every government, every kind of social groups should involve these communities into that. That's what I feel that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Siva. Dr. Lina, I think your screen sharing is still on if you'd like to take that off. Then I move to Dr. Lim. Dr. Ming Lim, your thoughts, please.
Thank you very much. So I will end by saying that as it concerns AI, use it, but don't rely on it, but use it in a critical thinking manner, and don't blindly rely on it. And then the second point is on enforcement and monitoring. UNESCO may be the first organization that has produced a global recommendation on ethical AIs, but there are a lot of different guidelines nowadays for different situations, different contexts. But guidelines and ethical standards remains words on paper if there are no enforcement. So enforcement is a very critical component. It's basically missing from a lot of our discussions. And following the enforcement is the monitoring, how well is being enforced, and how can we improve on it? Because it's a bit of a wild, wild west at the moment, and it is crucial for these two elements. So use it, but don't rely on it. Enforcement and monitoring. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Last but not least, Ms. Noemi, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on the issues raised.
Thank you very much. Yes, as you can expect, I joined Uyam, Asma, and Siva regarding the importance of sectoral regulation, governance of AI, taking into account specificities of each discipline and professional practice. And very quickly regarding innovation versus regulation, I don't think we need to choose. And there is if you want to dig into this, there is among others, one article from Anu Bradford, who wrote about the false choice between digital regulation and innovation. This is an example. We don't need to choose between the two. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amazing. Dr. Fatima, would you like to add to these insights?
Thank you, Dr. Nagla. I would like just to thank all our speakers, our distinguished experts.
We still have a question from the audience. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much. If we can, just in 5 minutes, Dr. Fatima, بعد إذنك, just Dr. Victoria, if you'd like to share with us, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A. If you'd like to pick one, and then we can take a few minutes for speakers if you'd like to chip in, and then we'll go to Dr. Fatima.
We have 3 questions from our audience. So What are the mechanisms to ensure that policy is translated to action when it comes to ethical AI? I think
Yeah.
we have one question.
Great. So thank you so much. And if I may just ask our speakers if they'd like to, I'm not sure if I should call on our speakers or they should just raise their hand and just speak up, so maybe speak up in the interest of time. Go ahead.
If I may, thank
Yes,
you.
please,
Please. I like very much the question from Renat Gis. We really need to have a feasible mechanism to systematically ensure that those ethical principles, human rights, are translated into policy and then are being implemented instead of staying on the paper. At UNESCO level, certainly we have several approaches, but one fundamental approach we promote is about multi-stakeholder participation at the national level. For example, in a country like Morocco, you are already taking a proactive approach to develop national AI strategy, which should ensure the inclusive participation from different actors. I mean, not only government policymakers who are in charge, but also civil societies, experts, private sector companies, technical engineers. They should be on the same discussion to shape the policy, and then they are the one to action on them later on to ensure all the action are being taken forward. So multi-stakeholder is a key. The second thing that, as many speakers mentioned, that we need to have the evidence-based approach to ensure this policy are really tailored, being able to be implemented. You cannot create a perfect policy in the air, but we cannot get landed in the end. That's why we also think the data-driven evidence-based approach can be very important in this whole process. And last point, I know many other speakers are trying to intervene. Before we close, I also want to highlight maybe one more dimension which was not enoughly addressed in today's webinar was about the multilingualism, linguistic aspect of AI governance. I think Professor Siva Prasad has briefly mentioned as well. I would say that now in the country, in the MENA region, which is so rich in culture and language, we cannot bear with AI being developed within a language which the region doesn't speak, and through a logic which the continent doesn't shape. And the AI, I mean, MENA region cannot just be a consumer, but really should be a creator, be an innovator. That's why my last message is really that we should see this opportunity to use the AI as a transformative force to define MENA region, every country's own digital future in a very diverse and inclusive manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cheng. We have from Dr. Mohammed Farahat and Dr. Noemi in 1 minute thoughts, and then we'll go to Dr. Fatima. Dr. Mohammed, تفضل. 1 minute, please.
Okay. For the mechanism to how to move from guidelines of something like that to be action, I think the legal framework, we need the legal framework should be in the place to ensure that we have some concrete text we work on, and also we need the institutional framework, because without institutional framework would monitor and evaluate the situation, I think it will not be good for that. So I think we have to have the post institutional and legal framework. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Miss Naomi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I put out my hand because I was going to say the same. To enforce ethical principles, law is key to ensure that and to ensure responsibility as well. We need accountability schemes for humans to be accountable of what they develop and put on the market.
Thank you. If I may just add, and engage everyone, engage civil society, engage small businesses and everyone in the game. If I may, as moderator, just thank you so much to everyone. Dr. Fatima, over to you. تفضلي.
Thank you, Dr. Nagla. I would like just to thank all our distinguished speakers, colleagues and friends for such a successful online seminar, which started by a very small idea. I discussed in June, I think, with both Dr. Victoria and Dr. Nagla, and with your both team, we succeed to have such events. I would like also to thank IFAP Secretary, Dr. Xian Hong Hu and her team for their supports. And I would like to invite all of you to our next seminar, which will be held tomorrow. In fact, if you can, of course, I know that you already have other activities in your agenda, but anyway, we will record the seminar. It's on AI and higher education, safety, and inclusive AI. And Dr. Asma El-Hannani will present one paper. And we have also both global experts and regional experts. So welcome to all of you, and thank you so much again.
Thank you, Dr. Fatima. What remains for me is to thank you, Dr. Fatima, for your initiative. It is a delight to work with you and with Dr. Victoria and Dr. Chang Hong, with the program, IFAP, the Information Ethics Working Group with UNESCO. It's a delight. I want to thank my team who are true professionals. I'm really very grateful for them to help pull through the initiatives that we have. I would like to highlight just a couple of initiatives that we are engaged in at the moment, among a lot of other things. We are the MENA chapter. We're taking care of the MENA component of the Global Index on Responsible AI at the center at our observatory. And also we are signatories to a number of initiatives, including the one very close to my heart, the iRaise, the Beneficial AI for Children. And I will be at the Paris Peace Forum next week, and I would be delighted to meet those of you who will be in Paris at that time, and to continue our conversations with everyone on responsible AI in the MENA region. And have a wonderful rest of day, afternoon, morning. And again, thank you very much, and thanks to our audience who have been with us and actively engaging on the chat. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and my sincere thanks to our speakers, from whom I've learned from each and every one. Thank you so very much. Shukran.
Thank you.
Take
Have a great
care,
day.
and
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.